The missile appeared suddenly on Israeli radar screens. Within seconds, air defense systems began calculating interception paths. Military operators scrambled to identify the incoming object as it raced toward central Israel. But this time, something unusual happened. The warning sirens never sounded. Moments later, a powerful explosion shook the quiet hills near the Ha'ela Valley, just south of Beit Shemesh. Smoke rose above fields dotted with satellite dishes and communications towers. This location wasn't random. According to reports, the missile strike targeted a major satellite communications facility used for global data and broadcast links. Within minutes, Hezbollah announced that its fighters had struck what they described as a strategic Israeli communications site deep inside Israeli territory. If true, it would mark one of the boldest long-range attacks of the current escalation. Because the Ha'ela Valley facility sits roughly 160 kilometers from the Lebanese border, far beyond the typical range of earlier rocket exchanges. Even more alarming was what Israeli investigators revealed soon after. According to early assessments, a failure in air defense warning systems allowed 2 missiles to reach central Israel without interception. In a country famous for its multi-layered defense network, that revelation raised serious questions. How did the missiles get through? Was the facility actually the intended target? And what does this strike reveal about the changing nature of modern missile warfare in the Middle East? Because this attack may represent more than just another exchange of fire. It may signal a new phase in the escalating confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah, a phase where strategic infrastructure, not just border towns, becomes the battlefield. And if communications hubs are now targets, the consequences could extend far beyond a single valley. The strike did not happen in isolation. For months, tensions between Israel and Hezbollah had been building steadily. Both sides had already exchanged rocket fire, drone strikes, and artillery attacks along the northern border. But in recent weeks, the conflict expanded dramatically. Israeli forces launched extensive airstrikes across Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah infrastructure, weapons depots, and command centers. These operations were designed to weaken Hezbollah's military capabilities and push its fighters away from the border. But the campaign also triggered retaliation. Hezbollah began launching longer-range missiles deeper into Israel. Sirens echoed across northern cities, civilian shelters filled with families seeking protection. Then came the strike on central Israel. According to statements released by Hezbollah, the group intentionally targeted a satellite communications facility in the Ha'ela Valley, describing it as part of Israel's cyber and communications defense network. Whether that claim is accurate remains debated. Some Israeli officials have said the site is operated by a civilian satellite company providing communications services. But in modern warfare, the line between civilian and strategic infrastructure is often blurred. Satellite stations transmit broadcast signals, internet traffic, and sometimes sensitive communications. That makes them potential targets in high-intensity conflicts. And this strike revealed something even more concerning. The conflict was moving deeper into Israel's interior. Military strategists often describe conflict escalation as a ladder. Each step raises the stakes. Each step makes de-escalation harder. The first steps usually involve border skirmishes and limited rocket fire. The next stage involves strikes on military bases or weapons depots. But targeting critical infrastructure represents a higher level of escalation. Communications facilities play a vital role in modern warfare. They link military units, intelligence networks, and command systems. Disrupting those systems can slow decision-making during crises. That's why analysts believe the Ha'ela Valley strike may have been designed to send a strategic message. Hezbollah wanted to demonstrate that it could reach deep inside Israel, and not just with random rockets, but with missiles capable of striking specific infrastructure targets. The strike also exposed vulnerabilities in Israel's defensive systems. Investigators said 2 missiles impacted central Israel without interception after a warning failure. Even if the incident was isolated, the psychological effect was significant. Because Israel's missile defense network, including systems like Iron Dome, is widely considered among the most advanced in the world. Any breach of that network immediately attracts global attention, and it raises a troubling question. If 2 missiles got through this time, could more follow? The scale of the Israel-Hezbollah confrontation is already enormous. Hezbollah is believed to possess tens of thousands of rockets and missiles in its arsenal. Some estimates place the number above 100,000. These weapons range from short-range rockets to more advanced guided missiles capable of reaching central Israel. Israel, meanwhile, has invested heavily in layered air defense systems. These include Iron Dome for short-range threats and additional interceptors designed for longer-range missiles. The idea is simple. Multiple layers of protection increase the probability that incoming threats will be destroyed before impact. But no defense system is perfect. Even the most advanced networks can be overwhelmed by large barrages or technical failures. And when missiles do get through, the results can be dramatic. In this case, the strike damaged infrastructure near the communication site and sparked intense investigation into the defense failure. The incident has already become a case study for military planners studying the future of missile warfare. because the balance between offense and defense is constantly evolving. Every new missile system forces defenders to adapt, and every new defense technology forces attackers to develop new tactics. The implications of this strike extend far beyond Israel and Lebanon. The Middle East sits at the center of several critical global systems, energy supply routes, shipping corridors, and strategic military alliances. If the Israel-Hezbollah confrontation escalates further, those systems could face serious disruption. Financial markets often react quickly to instability in the region. Oil prices can rise rapidly when traders fear disruptions to energy supply. And military escalation can trigger diplomatic reactions from major global powers. The United States, Europe, Russia, and China all monitor developments in the region closely. Because conflicts in the Middle East rarely remain contained. They tend to ripple outward through the global economy and international politics. That's why analysts describe the current situation as a potential tipping point. If the conflict spreads beyond localized exchanges and begins targeting strategic infrastructure on both sides, the risks of a wider regional war increase dramatically. So, what does the strike on the Hezbollah Valley communications facility really mean? At one level, it represents a continuation of the long-running conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. For decades, both sides have engaged in cycles of escalation and retaliation. But the nature of those confrontations has changed dramatically in recent years. Missile technology has become more precise. Drone warfare has expanded the battlefield. And cyber operations now accompany physical strikes. The attack on the Hezbollah Valley facility reflects this new reality. Modern warfare is no longer limited to front lines or military bases. Strategic infrastructure, communications hubs, power grids, and data networks has become part of the battlefield. Because disrupting those systems can have effects far beyond the immediate target. A communications hub links networks across regions and continents. Damage to such a site can interrupt signals, disrupt broadcasts, and slow information flows. And in a digital age, information itself is a critical strategic resource. But perhaps the most important lesson from this incident lies in the broader strategic picture. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah is now intertwined with wider regional tensions involving Iran, Lebanon, and other actors across the Middle East. Each strike risks triggering a chain reaction of retaliation. Each retaliation raises the stakes. And once escalation crosses certain thresholds, controlling the conflict becomes far more difficult. That is why military analysts pay close attention to moments like this, not just because of the immediate damage, but because of what the strike reveals about the evolving balance of power. Hezbollah demonstrated it could strike deep inside Israel. Israel demonstrated it would continue responding with airstrikes across Lebanon. And both sides appeared determined to maintain deterrence. Even as the conflict intensifies, the real question now is whether this cycle of escalation will stabilize or spiral further. Because history shows that regional conflicts often expand unexpectedly. A single strike can trigger a larger confrontation. A larger confrontation can draw in additional actors. And before long, what began as a localized clash can evolve into a broader geopolitical crisis. For now, the world watches carefully. Missile defenses remain on high alert. Military forces remain mobilized. Diplomatic channels remain active behind the scenes, and the hills of the Hezbollah Valley have become the latest symbol of how quickly modern warfare can reach deep into places once considered far from the front lines.